You're home right now, but you have people out in the real world and you want to see their face, hear their laughs, and see their smiles. Movies, games, happy hours are all better when you have friends around, even if you have to tell them shh every once in a while. You keep hearing social distancing. We don't want social distancing, we want physical distancing. So watching movies and playing games like this is a great way to do that. You still get interaction with your friends, but you're not worrying about contracting any deadly virus. Even after this whole COVID-19 thing is over, this might become part of the new norm. So it's good to adapt, and you might use this to hang out with your friends across different states, host some classes, or maybe even, play games with your grandparents over a video call. My name is Ian, and I'm a realtor in the greater Austin area. However, prior to that, I was in tech. So I just combined the two, and now you end up having videos like this on my channel. But enough of the jabber, let's go ahead and learn some things. I believe things should be as easy as possible, but not easier. Who said that? So what I've done is I've added a link in the description to anything that I talk about in the video, so all you have to do is click on it and install or whatever you need. Let's first talk about the camera app. I use Zoom, but there are a lot of them out there. Zoom is great because it's easy, fun, inexpensive, and scalable. It's also been around for a long time. It's actually free for 40 minutes, and I think in the midst of everything that's going on, they actually extended it to where you can just use it as long as you want. But even after that, like in normal times, it's about $12 US a month, and you can fit almost 100 people in one room together. So imagine hanging out with 99 or 98 of your friends watching a single movie. It'd be just like renting out a movie theater for just your friends. Now, recently there were some privacy concerns, like people were getting worried that their email address was being leaked. You signed up for that free scoop of birthday ice cream 4 years ago and haven't checked your email since. In a lot of cases, email isn't your primary form of communication, so I don't worry about that so much personally. But if you are worried about that, know that recently Zoom has added a lot of security features, multiple patches, and they even removed your meeting ID from the top of the screen when you're sharing or when you're recording a video. Because what people were doing were using that ID that they saw to log into other people's meetings. There are a lot of alternatives out there. There's Skype, which is owned by Microsoft. There's Hangouts, which is owned by Google. There's GoToMeeting, which is owned by Cisco. They're really popular in the networking space. There are a lot, they're huge, but most of those are leaning more toward business. And in this instance, we're talking about like
movies and games with friends.
You can also share your screen in Zoom. And in theory, you would think that would work for watching a movie. The problem is Zoom isn't really optimized. It's not really made for that. It's fine if you're just showing still slides, but if it's an actual movie, it ends up being kind of laggy or looks really bad. You get stutter. So that's why I recommend the second app. It's called Discord. So Zoom is what you use to see people on camera, and then Discord is what you use to share the video or the game that you're streaming. And what's cool about Discord is it's actually built for streaming. It's like a group communication app, except it doesn't have the video portion that Zoom does. So that's why you're using both of those apps simultaneously. At least not yet. I would imagine that in the future, seeing how successful Zoom is, Discord might want to add that in. Another thing that's necessary is actually scheduling the meeting. I mean, if you want people to show up. I use Google Calendar because it integrates well with Zoom and also with Facebook. And then it takes that event that I create and it will send it to everyone in a text message or in their email. It doesn't matter how it gets to them. Point is, it shows up on their phones. So you get this little notification that says, hey, you have this event to watch a bad movie with Ian tonight. Do you want to accept? Yes, it's always yes. And those are what we'll be using. So now let's go into the preparation part of it. And this is going to be the longest part. Please don't underestimate having a basic knowledge of how these applications work if you're planning to host. The worst thing that could happen is if you're hosting, people are watching a movie, enjoying a movie, and something shows up on your screen or you get a crash and you don't know how to troubleshoot it to get it back on track. Or imagine You're in the middle of a game with the family and all of a sudden on your screen pops up a text from last night. It'd probably make for great conversation. You're gonna have people asking for you to send out the invite again to them or to one of their friends. You're gonna have people needing help with connecting and chewing. You're gonna hear so much chewing. And it takes a minute for people who aren't familiar with the platform to understand the necessity of mute, which is more prevalent if you're not wearing headphones. Headphones help cancel out some of the echo that you would hear from the speakers if someone didn't mute their computer. All that to say, if you're going to host, if you volunteered to host, practice up a bit just so you're comfortable with what it is that you'll be asked to do. Okay, I want to pause for a second and ask, what is it that you want to host? I guess I'm just curious if I need to make more videos like this or make videos that will help answer some of your questions. Just let me know in the comments and I'll answer all the ones that I see. All right, back to it. You might have a theme. One of our friends goes to Ren Fair every year around this time for his birthday. He said, they're streaming the Ren Fair. We should all get dressed up and watch it together. For half a second, I thought, that's weird. But then, so is Ren Fair to begin with, and I have a good time when I go to that. And in celebratory fashion, if you go to a place like that, half the fun is participating in whatever it is that other people are doing or expect you to do. So I know that's a big part of the fun, but then I was like, I have an idea. I'll just put on a filter and make it look like I'm dressed up. Side note, that's what augmented reality is, in case you were wondering. It's been around for a while, but a lot of people they kind of hear it as a buzzword, but don't really know what it means. So the best part in all this is that while everybody else was actually dressed up, they took the time to get ready and prepare, I was like the odd man out at a Ren Fair online. I also made a very low-res, bad lighting video on how to create a virtual background so that you can kind of align that with the theme, maybe turn it into a movie poster or something like that. And that video is right here. So I'm only talking about these because I want you to think about that sort of thing when you're setting up the event. If you were doing it in real life, you would think about how you kind of want to theme it. And in a minute, I'll tell you why you don't want to send it in just a text message. So there's 3 criteria to make it effective. You want to make it easy to understand, thorough, so it's well explained, and essentially you want it to be self-sufficient in a way where someone can see it and kind of work their way through troubleshooting so you don't have to pause a movie and help someone connect while everyone else is on. So how do you do that? You put all of the relevant information in the description of the event or the invite that you send out. So when I'm posting in a Facebook group or in the description of my email, I'll put things like the link to Zoom, the link to Discord, and anything else that's applicable in this situation. So for example, this particular movie we were watching, there was a drinking game, so I included that too. And while I don't drink, that doesn't matter at all because as the host, I'm making it my responsibility to ensure that everyone else has a good time or as much of a good time as they can given the circumstances. And then the last thing I included was how to have a successful watch party. And in there it includes things like, here's how you use your mute button. And if something's not working well, you're not getting a good feed, here are some things that I'm using that are working well for me. Or if your video's running slow or laggy, here are some of the tools that I'm using just so you have kind of a point of reference. Which brings me to something else. Trying to do this on a phone or a tablet is challenging, to say the least. I mean, as the host, as a viewer, it's not so bad. You'll either have to get it to cast on your TV or deal with a tiny screen.
And you have all those windows, you're trying to look at it, and it's this big. It doesn't make sense.
Oh, hey, and one more thing about when you're actually scheduling, try to build in a buffer, maybe 15 minutes or so, because most people are gonna end up being late because if they've never done this before, then they have to download software or kind of figure out how to use it. So building in that buffer makes sure that other people don't have to wait for the people that haven't done this before. And you might wanna do something like a double feature. So schedule in some breaks. If you're gonna run a marathon, right? You can do an all-day thing. I mean, not everyone's seen Tiger King, so you can watch all 7 episodes back to back to back to back. So yeah, bio breaks, snack breaks, all those sort of things. So now let's get Discord ready. So the thing that you need to plan for with Discord is understanding how the channel system works, right? So you create a server channel for Discord and everybody logs into that, but then you'll want them to be muted when they're in the Discord channel because you don't want that mic on plus the Zoom mic on. So getting familiar with Discord is going to be important. And you can set up all sorts of permissions and you can go pretty far with it, but just learning how to use that is great. You're going to need to plan what you're watching because you're going to use Discord to stream it. We've sat in a meeting for 30 minutes. I say meeting, but we've sat in a Zoom call for 30 minutes trying to figure out what the heck to watch. And then when we finally decided on what to watch, we go look on Amazon Prime, we look on Netflix and a couple other places and realize it isn't even available to stream. So then you hear, I have the DVD. Really? What computer in the last 5 years even has a disk drive? Which I probably should have said that before. Try to make sure that you know and have access to whatever you're going to share with other people. So whoever is the host has to have that thing. I don't care if it's Disney Plus, if it's an old thumb drive that you had with some movies on it, all of that works. And while I'm at it, before we go too far, let's talk about your ability to stream. You want to be sure that your computer and your internet are able to show 10 high definition videos from all your people, plus streaming and sharing another larger high definition video. It's actually pretty demanding because it's all happening at the same time. So just to give you some numbers to work with, I would recommend having at least 200 megabytes down and 20 or more megabytes up. So any numbers larger than that and you should be good to host. And if you're not sure what your numbers are, link in the description. I'll have it, it's called speed test. And so what happens is if you're trying to host a movie and your internet isn't fast enough or your computer isn't strong enough to run it, everyone else's screen is going to look like Minecraft, while yours looks perfect. Another quick tip is if you're able to plug a cable, an RJ45, directly into your router, that might be the spunk you need for the night, and your wife, she'll be okay with it as long as you unplug it at the end of the sesh. Because it'd be just your luck, the one time you plug in a cable, somebody's going to trip over it. But a plugged in cable connection is almost always going to work a little bit better than a wireless connection, especially for situations like this. All right, so now it's time to start the party. Okay, so the first thing to do is start up Zoom. I don't have it running in my taskbar. Okay, really? So I open up Zoom. And if you're familiar with Zoom, then you know how to start a meeting. So I'm just going to, for the practice, start a new meeting. And in this case, I'm gonna have to choose the correct camera. There we go. So now that I've got the camera up, the next thing I wanna do is open up Discord. So and remember, you can change all your settings here. Make sure the mic is set up the way you want it. So I've got my laptop here. And as far as backgrounds, remember I said you can change your background and do a couple things there. So now let's jump over to Discord. So I'm gonna minimize this for a moment. So this is Zoom, and I'm in a meeting. So now I'm gonna open up Discord. So in Discord, like I said, choose your server and then the correct channel. In this case, I think I created, it's called Movie Magic as the channel that I want everybody to join. And in Movie Magic, you can create an invite for other people to be able to join in. And so that, I copy that information and I post it in the scheduled invite. So remember, like I said, everything is muted right now. I have the option to go live, but first I need content to go live with. So I'm gonna I opened up Disney Plus. I will choose, let's say Aladdin, because that's a fantastic movie. I'm gonna hit play. Let me turn the volume down some, because I don't have to show why. Now, I don't want to get flagged for copyright, so this is going to be relatively short. So here's the idea. I'm in Aladdin playing in my browser. I go into Discord and I click Go Live. So when I go into here, it's giving me applications or screens as an option. So remember, I said you do not want to share your screen because then people see your camera and everything else that's going on. You only want to share the application. So this is Discord as an application, and this is Disney Plus. So in most cases, if you're in the browser, you want to click Disney Plus. I'm in the channel, that's correct, what I'm streaming, that's correct, I hit go live. So now I have this window here. So this is where this gets interesting here. This shows exactly what my stream looks like. So I'm going to minimize this other window of Discord, and this is what people will see. So at this point, I can actually full screen it, and it will show just like this to everyone else who's watching. Okay, so I just started a meeting on my other machine as a host so that I can show how this example works. There's a couple things I want to mention. The first thing is in Zoom, now you can see 2 windows, and as it adds more people, it just fills up these windows. I can resize this. If I switch to speaker view, it only shows the person making noise. You don't want to use speaker view when you're doing one of these watch parties. You want to see everybody at once. So you're going to switch it back to what's called gallery view. So that's the first thing. Now I'm going to hop into Discord, and this is what people are going to be doing when they're joining your video. So the first thing is you look back at Movie Magic. Now I've got the account that I'm logged in here, and then the other one that's streaming. So you see that it says live. So right now, Ian is going live. So what you want to do is click join his Aladdin stream, and it opens up the movie. So I'm going to take this window, really, really important. I can click pop out, and it brings that into its own window. And then that other one that I have, I'm going to close. So what does that do for me? I have a pop out window, and now I have my Zoom window. Okay, last part. You take this bar, and in Windows, you can drag it over to the right. See that outline that it just made? You drag it over to the right, and you let go, and it fills the screen. I'm going to do the same thing with Zoom. I'm grabbing the title bar, and I'm moving it over to the left. There it is. So now I have an even spaced Zoom window and the movie playing. So I'm going to take this bar in the middle, drag it over, and there we are. So that is perfect. So now all of the people that join into Zoom will fill up over on the left-hand side while the movie is playing on the right-hand side. It is the best way to experience it. So the reason why I'm getting a little bit of distortion or lag is because I'm not only streaming, but I'm also hosting and I'm also viewing. So I have multiple screens, and you can see why this needs a pretty powerful machine very quickly. And I think it's important to know that if it doesn't quite look right after you've done the snapping of the windows to get them to sit and fill the screen the right way, it could be that the host, the person hosting, needs to make some changes on what they're sharing. They might be sharing their entire screen instead of just that application like I was showing you. And remember, now that everybody's in, watching a movie, having a good time, you have Discord muted and you have your Zoom meeting muted. What's cool is you can actually have somebody, if they're sitting at their laptop, they can press the space bar, and while they're holding it down, they can talk because the space bar will unmute them. And then as soon as they let go, they're muted again. So what I would recommend is if they have a wireless mic, they can actually sit further away, cast it to their computer, or connect it using an HDMI cable and use this wireless mic and be lazy and sit on the couch and unmute when they'd like to talk. Otherwise, they're going to have to run back and forth to the laptop every time they want to unmute, or they'll leave it unmuted and then you hear all of the echoing. So to avoid all that, a $10 wireless mouse will do the trick. Another point is, as the host, you can always unmute people at your leisure, but that just becomes a whole job and a hassle you don't want to have to deal with. Is that it? I think I've covered everything to get you going. If there is anything that's still kind of holding you back from hosting one of these, let me know and I'll try to answer all the questions that I see show up. Thank you very much for taking the time to make it all the way to the end, and I hope this gets you back to, sort of having fun with your friends again.